Yo, 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 ah. There we go.
Yo, Todd. You live? Yo.
What's good, world?
What's going on, bud? Reconnect this too, so I can see what's going on.
Sorry, my apologies. I just had to grab some Jelly Bellies.
Appreciate that.
I just don't want Nick to get famished. Growing boy.
It's good to see y'all, man. Everything's good out there in Canada, up north. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you, bud.
Okay, cool. How's everything going?
Things are going well, my man. How are you doing this evening?
Doing good, man. I see it's a lot of amazing people in the chat already. How y'all doing? Thank y'all for joining this amazing talk. Sorry about that. Thank y'all for joining.
Yo, Buck, so I thought what was amazing is as I was going through some stuff this evening, I actually found you signed this for me. Remember this Wall Street Journal with you and Joe Smalls? And
yeah.
I want to start by reading this quote in here, man. It's just so inspiring. But what it says is, I jump inside of the music. I mess with the tempos. You know how with an equalizer you can see the music go up and down? That's what I do. Being a vessel for sound, you see it in my body. Lil Buck.
So the sign.
Sign copy.
You got to bring it closer. I can't see it.
You can't see it?
That's me and Joan Smalls, everybody, for y'all that don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I basically, I was the first person who was awarded the Wall Street Journal's Innovator Awards that they were given, that they started. They started to do these Innovator Awards for innovative people that they think is the most innovative person of the year. Or they got a lot of different awards they give out, but the Innovator Award was one that I received, and I'm the first recipient for it. So that was amazing. So that explains why I was on the cover of the Wall Street Journal with Joan Smalls. It was amazing, that whole shooting process. But yeah, that quote, man, that quote is just really how I express when I'm in movement. You know what I'm saying? My process, you know, when I'm rehearsing and when I'm, it's more than just a physical practice when I'm performing or when I'm dancing or when I'm practicing. You know, it's more than just physical. It's a mental thing as well. I train mentally just as much as I train physically. So when I train mentally, it's like I see the music in different ways, man. I see the music like equalizers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you see an equalizer and it goes with the pitch of the music. So I try to match the pitch of the music with my movement so you can really connect. And also with the cadence of the lyrics. Like if I'm dancing to like a Young Thug song, for example, and the cadences, you know, he had those crazy cadences, but I'm riding him. I'm not just riding the cadence, but I'm also tuning into the pitch. Yeah. So I'm looking for, how does that pitch look? What does it look like, you know? And so I'm basically trying to bring the sound to life through movement. And just using myself as a vessel for whatever, for, you know, what you hear and you know, all these different sonics you're getting from the music. So,
Well, Buck, I was at that event. You killed it with that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, that was an incredible night, man. Like I just couldn't believe it. Like I was getting awarded, sharing the stage with Eminem and Dr. Dre and Fabulous was there.
Jimmy Ivy, right? And all those people there.
Jimmy,
I remember Fab was there. We were talking to him about what album did he just come out with?
I forgot which one that was. I don't know if that was the what album did he just come out with during that?
Don't ask me. I mean, I'm not the right man.
You know the one where he had the album cover of that like cartoon kind of, that comic kind of album cover with the girl on it? I think it was that joint.
Yeah. But yeah, that was an amazing event.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Back in NYC, man. It seems like it's been so long and everybody's, you know, cooped up at home now. The days of travel seem so far gone. But, you know, where we really wanted to go today, Buck, is first of all, like, man, we really appreciate you taking the time to kind of share your journey and like where you've been. And yeah, man, we appreciate all the support. I mean, it's really been
all day. I love this
day
break,
one,
man.
baby.
It's not just about the quality, and I'm not even. This ain't even no commercial break. I'm just saying, like, it's the message of it. Y'all know the message of it, being far from ordinary and just ordinary people living far from ordinary lifestyles and all that stuff. So I'm all about that message. That's why I rock with y'all, man. So
why don't you tell, like, can you tell everybody, like, you know, obviously born in Memphis, like, tell people a little bit about yourself, like, what was growing up like what was Charles Riley like growing up? What was he doing for fun? Were you always moving, dancing, getting into trouble? Like, give us a little background.
Yeah, for sure. So I tend to talk a lot, so I'm gonna try to keep it brief. But I know we only got like an hour on live, but yeah, it's funny.
Buck, sorry to interrupt. If anyone wants to ask Buck a question, Buck, you're gonna be answering at the end of the show, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. So yeah, feel free to write your comments, and we'll get to those at the end. Yeah,
but yeah, man. It's funny you mentioned that, like my past and everything, and how I came up. I literally just got done posting on my Instagram story just about my past, man. I was thinking about, like, I was just reflecting because, you know, this is a time where a lot of people in the world is just reflecting on their lives and what they want to do because they get to slow themselves down from the fast-paced world of life. And I was just reflecting, man, on like how far I've came and how much further I want to go. And man, I came from Memphis, man. I was born in Chicago, actually. I was raised in Memphis, so I was born a Chicago boy on the west side of Chi-Town. That was back when, you know, they used to do the footwork dance. They still do footwork out of Chicago, like, you know, that watch my feet. They call it jookin now. It's getting close to jookin, but yeah, I still call it footwork. That was what it was called back in the day. But, you know, I was born in Chicago. My family moved to Memphis when I was around 7, 8 years old. I had an aunt in Memphis. We really wanted to get out of Chicago because my mom was going through some crazy shit where, you know, my stepdad, I grew up with my stepdad. It was a whole crazy thing, actually. You know, I grew up around my stepdad because it was a lot. It's a lot to explain, but basically I got 2 older sisters. Yeah. I'm like the middle child. I got 1 younger brother. And yeah, I was just like, moving to Memphis was a big culture shock for me because I was always like, my grandmother, I lived with my grandmother. We were born like dirt poor. I didn't have any money when I was born. My family didn't have any money. We lived with my grandmother in her basement in Chicago. My mom was going through a lot in the relationship with my stepdad, so we had to move to Memphis. And it was a big culture shock because I was always, you know, protected from the world. My grandmother wouldn't let me play outside of a certain radius, you know, in Chicago because it was crazy, man. On the west side, there was a lot of GDs, a lot of gangs, you know.
She was like that Fresh Prince grandmother to start, like, you know.
Yeah, for real. But no, my folks were strict, man, and they had a nice house. They invested in this nice house and had a front yard that was gated. So the only place I could really go to was the store. And I couldn't even go to the store by myself because, you know, folks be hanging on the corner on the block. And it's a lot of peer pressure out there in Chicago when it comes to gangs and drugs and all type of stuff. So my grandma really was sheltering me, keeping me away from that. So moving to Memphis, where it's just as oh, there we go.
Cellular towers here in Sage Creek aren't the best, but they have great real estate for sale. Call John Bloomberg.
No, but I was saying I learned a lot the hard way, man, growing up in Memphis, man. Like tough love from friends that I gained out here, and I just really learned how to, you know, defend myself, all type of stuff. I learned how to be a man out here in Memphis. In Memphis, so I love Memphis. You know, Memphis gave me a lot. And Memphis is the place where I actually was introduced to Memphis jookin. You know, I only knew about, you know, what Michael Jackson was doing and all that stuff like that. That was what I was into. That was one of my biggest influences, was Michael Jackson. Me and my sister.
Sorry to interrupt, but that was kind of the first video I saw of you dancing. Was to Michael Jackson, but put your own twist on it in the subway, and that's when I reached out to you. Remember that?
Yeah, that was in New York. I was with JR, and we just got off the subway, and this guy was just playing Michael Jackson. I was like, bro, you gotta get this. And
I just went off.
But yeah, he's one of my biggest inspirations, as you know, as is a lot of dancers, most of the dancers in the world. But I thought like he was as good as it gets. You know what I mean? As far as like moving that way, floating. I never knew I could move to a city. I would move to a city where there are guys in baggy jeans and gold teeth and all this amazing culture that I wanted to be a part of. You know, that I've lived, that I'm used to seeing. I couldn't believe they were able to move just as good as Michael Jackson, man, when I moved to Memphis. So it was special to me. I know that, you know, it's always, you know, it's probably like, people probably used to seeing it in Memphis, you know, because they grew up with it. It's a jookin, the dance style that I do is it originated in Memphis. For y'all who don't know anything about it, it's a Memphis original dance style that started in the late 80s, early 90s. And it used to be called the gangster walk, and it just evolved to jookin. And so this was an amazing dance, man. And it was crazy because it wasn't like a commercial dance at all. It was street as it gets, you know. This was a dance that a lot of the thugs could do, all these, you know, the bangers, whoever you were, you can do this dance, you know what I'm saying, and still be cool. It wasn't like, oh, you a dancing ass motherfucker. It wasn't like that. It was still cool and had swag to it. So like, that's why we all loved it. And I think it just attracted everybody who was in the city, man. And it's a big part of the culture. So when I moved to Memphis and saw guys moving like that, I just couldn't believe it. And that's when I knew, I was like, this is it, man. This is what I want to do right here. So that was just, you know, my story coming out of Memphis and, you know, growing up in, you know, coming out of Chicago, growing up in Memphis and being introduced to jookin.
You know, it's interesting too, because I always wondered, like, you know, especially being from that side, like my association with Memphis growing up was we had the Vancouver Grizzlies. Like we had the Vancouver Grizzlies, and they had I think it was big Bryant Reeves. Remember that big guy in Sharif Abdul-Rahim? And then they went to Memphis. We lost them. And so that would have been my association to Memphis.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry about that. We love the Grizzlies. But the Grizzlies are in good hands, man.
Show them the tap.
Oh yeah, I gotta. Yeah, if y'all don't know, I'm a Memphis Grizzly. I'm a Memphis at heart, man. I got Memphis on my heart. I read proudly. Shout out to the Grizzlies.
I love it.
You know, Buck, I think one thing that we just wanted to get into, and especially, you know, when you and Nick initially formed that relationship, we always talked about this vibe of being far from ordinary. And I think when I really met you, what I saw was that, you know, there's this idea of being born with elements of talent. You know, you look at like Michael Jordan, you look at Usain Bolt. Like, I mean, certain guys are born with certain things, but I think this aspect of like hard, sustained, consistent work, that can get overlooked sometimes. Like, I think sometimes I look at someone like you, even in the things that you're doing, and I'm like, yo, like, how did he get there? You know, with the arm, and like, you told me you used to sleep like this, like,
yeah,
just to,
100%.
like you put in work behind the scenes. So just tell people about that. Like, what's that like to just be like a hard worker consistently to get to, obviously, you know,
that Kobe Bryant mentality,
yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, man, it's a lot, man. But when you're doing something that you truly like are passionate about, like really though, not just like, but obsessed, in love with. You know how like Conor McGregor says, it's an obsession. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And that's how it feels, man. When you really find that one thing, just like it probably feels the same with you guys with Ordnry Clothing. It's like, it's our lives. You know what I mean? And we live it and breathe it every day. And when I was, and I love this.
It's actually, man. You just don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I loved it so much. I wanted to get great at it. I said, this is something. I just felt like there was nothing I was really good at growing up because I went through so much stuff, you know, in my own household. Like growing up in a broken home, it was just a lot. Yeah. That's driving your attention.
Oh, been there, man.
Yeah. So like when you find that one thing, man, that you love and you know, it's different, man. I was just extremely passionate about it, so I wanted to work as hard as I possibly could. I would stay up like to practice outside, you know, under the carport at home while everybody's sleeping. I would go outside and put on the radio, you know, and just start booming, just start practicing. I used to walk around. I used to wake up in the morning, washing my face dancing, you know what I'm saying? And just so we can, I love it that much. For real. And I would go, like, it wasn't just okay, I'm going to practice at this time, right? It wasn't just like slots for practice or anything like that. It was my life. Literally, when I went to the grocery store, I was pushing the cart, walking on my toes while I'm pushing the cart on my toes to build that toe strength. So it was a lot, man, that when you're striving for greatness, you're going to have to go through those trials, man. But that's the beauty of the journey, man. That's the beauty of it. It's not getting to where you want to get. It's that whole journey, right? And I loved it, man. It hurt, but I loved it because I knew I was growing. And once you push past that threshold and reach that next plateau, it's the ultimate feeling, man. It's like working out and finally seeing the results, and then making you want to go even harder. And it's that feeling, man, that you get from like that passion and just going hard.
So did you always know that, like, once you found that passion that you wanted to dance and like make a career out of it, or did the opportunity kind of come and then you took that route? Like,
no, like as far as like I said, as far as this dance, it was simple, man. I learned it was a dance style that I can move just as good as Michael Jackson. So I'm like, I bet I want to learn this as much as possible. I didn't know anybody in Memphis when I moved there. Like all the guys that were like the crazy, amazing guys at jookin, I didn't even know it was an actual culture. I thought it was just something that, some people did. I didn't even know it was called anything at first when I saw it. I just knew it was amazing. And then when I found out it was an actual culture, people's been doing this since the 80s, it just blew my mind. And that's what really made me want to dig into it. And the more I learned about it and educated myself about the style, the more I just became attracted and obsessed with it. But yeah, man, I would train from morning to night and, wake up. You had to wake up early to go to school, and I'd be in my classroom just like, but it was a lot, man, and it takes that grind. Like when I learned how to bone break, I was on tour with Madonna, right? So
So you said bone break? What do you mean bone break?
Well, it's that style of flexing. But I'm gonna get to that actually. What was that question you just asked me, Nick?
So I was just saying, like, when you first found that passion for dance, did you just like practice like you were saying, like endless hours, but did you always see a vision of a career from it, or did you
not
did
always
that kind of approach you because you were so good at dancing?
Yeah, no, it was not always. It was a gradual thing that led to that. Like I just loved to dance. It was just a hobby. I just found something that I could be happy doing, that I could be free doing. You know what I'm saying? After we moved out of Chicago, after we moved out of Chicago, man, things got better. My mom was on her own. She was a single mom. I didn't have to worry about all the BS in the house. So it was a lot of love. And but at the same time, my mom was busy. She had to work 2 jobs because she had to keep up with us. She had 4 kids there. And my parents were just busy. So like I had to spend a lot of time I had to find those those things to keep me happy, and dance was that. So it was just a hobby at first, man. And then as I gradually got really good at it, as I was introduced to like the real jookers in Memphis, the real guys who did it for years. Once I finally got in front of them and they saw me dance, they was like, okay, we can sharpen up some tools with you. So like they actually, honed in on me because I was introduced to them by we had this one big film shoot, right? Like my manager, Young Jay, shouts out to Jay, but my manager, he used to be the guy. So he was the actual videographer for Memphis jookin. A lot of people was making their own DVDs and everything like that, but he wanted to start the first official Memphis jookin like DVD that's available for everybody around the world, not just like a local thing. And he invested into a camera just to do that. And so he got everybody together from North Memphis, South Memphis, East Memphis, West Memphis, all in this one parking lot, because we always danced in parking lots or garages or something like that. So we danced outside this one big parking lot. And it was all the jookers, man, all the amazing people. G-Nerd, Daniel, like all my mentors, Dr. Rico, all the top of the tops was out there. Caviar. So like when I was out there, man, I was nervous to hug. I was so nervous because I wasn't a real jooker yet. I just learned a little bit of what I saw from here and there, and then I had my own style of dance that I had, kind of meshed with that. But when they saw me, they just took me in because they saw all the potential. And the more I started training with them and actually getting really good at the style and battling people and winning, and you know, I started to really see, you know, okay, there's something. This is, when I first saw it, I knew it was something beyond. I knew it was something that was special that they didn't know that was special. I was like, some of y'all a lot of y'all know this special, but I don't think y'all know how special this dance is. This is the most amazing dance style I've ever seen. Like, even on a high, you know, even on a high art level, you know, even on a, you know, on the same level as ballet and all these, you know, timeless dances, you know, and styles, and, you know, African and ballet and modern. I saw Memphis jookin on that same plateau. So I always knew it was potential for this dance to be huge. But, you know, I just had to start off learning it first, right? So I just focused my attention on that. But it wasn't until I started getting really good, and then I actually opened my, I just wanted to be it went from wanting to be a great jooker to overall wanted to be one of the best dancers.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because it didn't stop there. I started getting good, and I was like, no, I want to be able to move, because that's how I started. I didn't start with just Memphis jookin. I started with just pure dance from the love of watching Michael Jackson, right? So I wanted to learn how to do flips, because I always knew I was good at flips naturally. I wanted to hone in on that, on gymnastics. I wanted to learn how to stay on my toes as much as the ballerinas did in ballet, because you got some toe moves in jookin when we go on our toes and come back down. So I used to, it was all that training that led to that. And then when I finally got into ballet and started learning a different way of movement, I did ballet for about 3.5 years. But when I finally got into it, I was around 16, I believe, going on 17. And yeah, I started learning like how to move to different music other than rap music, right? And that was the thing that was like the aha moment for me. I was like, jookin can really be done to anything. This is amazing. Like, because, you know, a lot of dance styles are really like, or, you know, a lot of dance styles that have a foundation about it aren't as free as Memphis jookin. You know what I'm saying? Memphis jookin has that foundation that you know it when you see it, but also it's such a freestyle based dance. And it's not just at one tempo. It can be smooth, it can be fast, it can be whatever you want it to be, because it's just really an overall feeling. Jookin is a feeling, and it's in you know, more so than just a dance. It's a dance, but it's a feeling and a vibe that you get from our experience, you know, out of Memphis. And it was, you know, born from the Memphis underground rap music. So like, it's all that together. But when you do it to different music, it becomes something totally different. And I started to experiment with that as I was taking ballet. So like, that's when I started to learn more about the world of the arts, you know, about how, you know, this dance is actually an art. And it can be on that level. Like, I was impressing ballet dancers, bro. Like, I was doing things that was a piece of cake. Like, the most simplest moves to me, they were just like, you know, flabbergasted. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? The thing is, I wanted to learn as many dances because I knew how hard it was for like, you know, African Americans especially, you know, it's in the industry as it is with typecasting and all that stuff. I just knew how hard of a road it is as a dancer in general, let alone the black.
Did you think you were disadvantages? Did you feel like at some points that you were maybe profiled or stereotyped against?
Well, later on in life, when I moved to LA, so that feeling didn't actually come until I was in LA. I didn't think of it like that until I moved to LA when I was around 20 years old and started doing auditions and things like that. But I definitely, yeah, when I moved to LA, I got signed with an agency, like, and then when I got signed with that agency, I started doing auditions. And when I went on these auditions, they typecast people, right? So it's like they put you on the line and they just typecast you just based off your look and height and all that stuff from the jump before you even dance. And even when you dance, it just felt like, you know, if there's somebody else, like sometimes, and not to take anything from any dancers, but you experience this sometimes, man. If it's like a white dancer that can do the same or almost the same kind of movements or just as good as a black dancer, you know, they definitely getting hired over the black dancer, you know, just you know, on
well,
type
chat. Well, if you had moved and shake like this, then maybe you would have got more roles.
Maybe, man, maybe. But you experienced that a lot. But that's why. But that's why I work so hard. So that wouldn't even become an issue.
Yo, you gonna have a drink with us or what?
Maybe.
You know this is all we drink.
But like I was saying, I actually, that's what drove me to want to get. I wanted to get so good that I was undeniable. You know, I wanted my work to speak for itself. Like I'm watching the Michael Jordan, The Last Dance right now, and it really resonated with me when Michael Jordan said he just wanted his work spoke for him. He didn't have to say nothing, nobody about how good he was. You know, he let his work speak for him on that court, and it's the same with me. That's why I went so hard learning jookin. I went so hard learning ballet so I can know how to stay up on my toes or how to have a good amount of core strength where I can do, you know, just as much as the jookers that I looked up to doing. I started learning really fast and getting good really fast. The more you know, different styles that I learned, the more you know, the faster I started to elevate. So I just kept myself as an open channel, man, to learning as much as I possibly can, and that's been working. It's been, you know, working out for me, man. That's how I got this good where I'm floating like I'm on water.
Oh yeah, man. And you know, we've seen it all, because I remember I told Nick, like, when you signed that for me, I think it was just before New York, because we'd been in New York before and you were in a wheelchair at the time. Remember so I remember this. Buck surprised you. He's like, yo, Nick, I got one ticket. We're going to sit with the owners at the Giants game. We're going the field before. And I'm like moping like a little bitch. I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be great. You guys have an awesome time, man. And then I remember Buck got me a ticket. I got in the gate, and then Nick texted me. He's like, yo, we got you on the field. We got you in the owner's box. This is the Tish family. But I remember, Nick, you're pushing Buck. All of a sudden, like, someone's calling Buck over, and it's J.R. Smith. And it's just funny because I've always seen Buck. He's all about mobility and movement. And whenever you see him, he is moving, and like, that's just how you are, man. I love that. But it was just that moment, and that was real for me and Nick, man, because even just being kids from Winnipeg, like, you know, trying to start this brand and trying to push it forward. For me, like, when I looked up there and I was on the field at the Giants game, Eli Manning, Odell Beckham, JR, like, that was real for me, man. So thank you for that very much, first of all.
Yeah, 100%, man.
And
for me, it's just about empowering. You know, I'm always about empowering people, especially the people that, you know, my friends and people that I look to as inspirations. You know, I'm all about just, you know, empowering people, because I grew up not without a lot. You know, it's that lack of that I grew up with that made me want to give so much, because I know, I mean, like, just finding that love for dance, man, and feeling like I'm being loved back through dance and getting love and appreciation from other people because of the hard work that I put in it, man. It's you know, you can't pay for that. It's a beautiful feeling, and just I've always, for some reason, been about just sharing the wealth, man, and sharing my knowledge, and you know, collaborating with people, connecting with people to learn more from other people. I'm always being an open channel to learning, period. So, like, when I met you guys, y'all vibe was so just real, man, and everything y'all stand for with the brand being far from ordinary. Like, I was really in that moment, especially when you hit me up. I was really in that mindset of thinking. Like, I was like, listen, man, I could do much more than what I'm doing right now. I just gotta, you know, go harder. You can never, you know, you can always go harder. So, like, I was in this mindset, and when you reached out to me and I was looking at the clothes, I was like, oh my God, I love this. And yeah, immediately, like, it was a great vibe with y'all, man. And then, like, when we went to the New York Giants game, that was crazy. I'm cool. I'm real cool with the owners. You know, in the arts world, I met them in the world of the arts. You know, just doing live performing art.
Did you meet Lori from the Super Bowl, performing at the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, I performed with Madonna at the Super Bowl, but I knew her before that, actually. I knew her, like, around the time that I was performing with Yo-Yo Ma. Because Lori Tish is good friends with the president of Juilliard, Damian Wetzel, who's the guy who plugged me and Yo-Yo Ma together to actually perform. It was him that brought us together. And he was over Obama's Committee on the Arts and Humanities. So that's how that whole thing happened. Yo-Yo Ma was on that committee. Damian Wetzel was over that committee. And Lori Tish was involved in the arts and humanities as well. So that's how we got that relationship. She already saw me as a performer, thought I was amazing, and that's kind of how we hit it off. But yeah, seeing J.R. Smith at that game was crazy. J.R. Smith is he loves Memphis jookin. He loves dance, and he's like,
and he loves dunking on white guys. that man has ruined some white NBA players' careers. Hashtag Steve Nash.
For real, but yeah, he's a good guy, man. It was dope seeing him there at the game. I had on a boot, or I was in a wheelchair because I had hurt myself at a rehearsal for a performance that I had that I was supposed to do at the Delacorte Theater in New York. So yeah, I had on a big boot on my ankle. And I learned my lesson from that, man. It's just keeping yourself, staying active and working out, man, and staying on it. Like I was so naturally good that I was stretching and I was doing everything it takes when you're supposed to. I was doing all my warm-ups and everything, but sometimes, you just felt like you had it, and sometimes I would just go out there and just get it in, and anything can happen. So y'all met me at a low point in my life, but y'all helped to get better, because that was the dark stages for me. I was in a boot, I couldn't perform, but I still had my upper body though. I still had the upper body.
Oh yeah.
Yo, you came to Winnipeg to visit us right after. What was your thoughts?
Oh man, I loved Winnipeg, dog. I hated the weather when I got there. Y'all set me up for that, but they set me up. It's cold out there, and when it's cold, it's cold. But when it's hot, it's nice. When it's spring, it's beautiful. But yeah, it was just a good experience, man. Coming up to the shop, meeting you guys, really seeing where y'all at, like where y'all, what frequency y'all was on, if I should say. And it was just a dope feeling. Like I said, it was like y'all gave me that brotherly love from the beginning. Y'all brought me in, and it felt like, it didn't feel like I was doing anything for y'all. It felt like we were both on the same, we all was on the same wave and on the same frequency and just making stuff happen together. And that was years ago, man. So we still here.
Bro, I still remember when we linked, we were both in New York. You're like, yo, you're in New York? I'm in New York. Yo, let's link. And then we met up at Tao, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yo, got a couple bottles, and the rest is history.
It's been a few times though in New York, and Buck, I gotta say, like, another experience for me that was just next level was when you did your collaboration with Versace, and I know how important, and especially this guy. I've known this guy since grade 7. His mom was devastated by the amount this kid spent on. Nick's mom used to go to Foot Locker and have a heart attack because this kid had to have the best Jordans when we played basketball. But I know shoes are just so inspirational to both you, the Jordans. But when you did Buck for Versace, and Nick, I know you had your pair. I mean,
you had Virgil Abloh
spinning. Virgil.
How crazy is that?
Hey man, life is crazy. It's a funny story.
Show your shoes one more time.
Yeah, so these are the Versace's they're talking about. Lil Buck for Versace. So basically, I was contacted by the CEO of Versace at the time, and he was a big fan of me. He had been following my videos for a while without me even knowing. And he finally reached out. He got a hold of me through email, and I couldn't fucking believe it. He was just like, yeah, he's the CEO of Versace.
Yeah.
And he wanted to talk to me about doing something with the brand. So we got on the call, and he was talking to me about how he loved my dancing, and they're really trying to change things up for the New York Soho store. Like he was over like doing like this kind of reinvention for the New York Soho store that was changing up things there, trying new things with different artists and creatives. It was a really cool thing they had going on. They collaborated with these guys, these furniture making guys, these guys that make like this artistic furniture. Like that was the first collaboration that they did, and then they did one with me. And I'm the first street dancer who ever did a collaboration with Versace. It was crazy.
Probably
unfathomable. So it was amazing, man. They flew me out to Milan, and I actually went to Italy to go to the actual Versace headquarters. I walked around the maze. It was just unreal, dog. It was unreal, that whole experience. And he asked me, he said, yeah, you can do anything. You can do a performance. You can do a collection. You can do and as soon as he said that, I was like, I'm on it. I want to make a shoe. You ain't gotta. So I did a capsule collection.
It's gotta be the shoes.
It's gotta be. So I did a capsule collection for them. This is a pair of the shoes I did, where my inspiration was the Air Force One. So we grew up in Memphis dancing in Air Force Ones, right? So like you can kind of see a little bit of the inspiration from the Air Force One. You know how it's made without the Nike sign in the middle. You know, kind of. But I always when I dance, I'm like really directing a lot of people's attention towards my feet because I have a lot of amazing footwork. So I wanted people to see my feet even when it's, dark outside performing or when it's dark on stage if need be. So I got these, I put 3M reflective trimming around the shoe. So if somebody's recording you with the flash on, it'll just like pop and it pops amazing. I put 3M Versace Grecky in the strap with the Pegasus on the Pegasus lace locks because if you didn't know,
Slick got a pair of those. I didn't get mine though. Shout out Slick though.
And mine got lost in the mail like 4 years ago. They're still coming. I'm waiting.
UPS. I thought you got your pair, Nick. I thought you had a pair. What size shoe?
I got your Jordan collab.
Oh yeah, you got the J's.
Which is also crazy.
Both.
Oh, the Jordan collab too.
Yeah. I got the Jordans, but the Air Force, amazing. But I must have to say that I prefer the Jordan 1.
Yeah.
You mean these?
Jordan 1.
I came ready.
In the case. That's special, man. Oof.
So hold up. Let me for the people that don't know.
Yo, I did a special how about my niece in the background?
I did a special collab campaign with Jordan. And they, as a token of their appreciation and respect for, what I do, they made me these 30 pair of friends and family Lil Buck fly knits because I did the fly knits campaign for them. So they got my signature in there. They did 20 pair actually, I'm sorry. So this is pair 15 of 20, I think. Yes. No, this is 18 of 20. And you see me doing my signature move inside of the tongue. It has Lil Buck right there on the outside of the tongue, and it also has Lil Buck right there engraved in the wing. So
and then like Michael, like, and we even went into like the last dance, and how much more could it epitomize you? Like obviously it's not your last dance, you have so many more dances to go, or so like, but when it comes down to it, you have these amazing dances, these amazing performances. Give me that time where you're just like going to perform, and for you it was like, you're like, wow, like I'm on the stage, man. I'm going to perform right now, and this is this kid from Memphis. I was jookin. I came from Chicago. I came with my family. Like I'm here. I'm on the stage, man. What was that time for you?
I think that time was when I was on tour with Madonna, the first show. Oh, actually the Super Bowl. It was the Super Bowl when I did the Super Bowl with Madonna. It wasn't even a tour. It was the Super Bowl because it was. Look, we rehearsed for 4 months to do that 20-minute performance. 4 months every day except Sunday.
For 20 minutes.
Bro, I remember
I wasn't in the whole piece. I was only in the beginning, so I only did like 5 minutes and I was out of there.
Bro, remember when I came to visit you in LA? Like, you literally woke up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to get to rehearsal, and you wouldn't finish until midnight.
Yeah, that's how it was. But
that was
midnight is lucky. Look, my lady's looking at me because I met my future wife.
Yo, get in here,
I met my future wife on the second Madonna tour. But just explaining what you was talking about, John.
We got our future wives here too, man. It's perfect. Future wives. Shout out to the future wives.
Shout out to them.
What's up?
Oh, maybe we don't. They're unsure.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, man, it was that time when I was doing the Super Bowl, man. We put in 4 months of creating the whole thing, and I had just won the Dance for Madonna Smirnoff Nightlife competition. So Madonna and Smirnoff had this competition where, Madonna chose one person in the world, like on a national scale competition. She only chose one person to be one lucky person to have a guaranteed spot on her tour and to perform at the Super Bowl with her. One lucky winner that won this competition. So like out of everybody that auditioned, they auditioned people in person and they did an online thing where you can do an online submission if you couldn't make it. So it was a huge process, man. But like, I auditioned for Madonna, and my video ended up being, I did a 1-minute video submission, and ended up being in the top 10 videos, in the top 2 of the top 10 videos that were picked, that got the most views, and that people wanted to see. So like, they flew all the top 10 people out to, Madonna flew all the top 10 people out to New York, and we had to compete, man, against each other to have that #1 spot. And I ended up taking the whole thing, man. I wasn't playing. So,
love it.
But from there, that's when, you know, we had to put in all that work, and it was a lot, man. You know, you first of all, you're coming straight out of street dance into, like, I was lucky that I had the background I had in hip hop as well. When I was living in Memphis, I was a part of a dance company called Subculture Royalty, and it was a hip hop dance company that my cousin Ron, you know Ron Miles, shout out to him. He actually got me into that. We went to the same high school, so he got me into this hip hop company, and I started learning hip hop, and that came in handy when I had to learn all this choreography on a Madonna tour. As a street dancer, that's a big thing, because a lot of street dancers have to put so much into learning that craft, because it's a self-discipline that you're learning when you're doing street dancing. You're not just learning somebody else's way of moving. You're learning yourself, you know, and it takes a lot of time and energy. So as a street dancer that can do that, on top of that, know how to do good choreography, is just amazing. And it's a really good thing to have in the industry for y'all dancers who watch and who are street dancers. If anybody's tuned in, choreography at this point, you know, it's when it comes to being in the industry, whether that's doing choreography in your own field, in your own type of dance, or whether that's choreography as far as what they call hip hop choreography, it's a must now. It's like a necessity. So if you want to really become a working dancer like that, like learning how to do choreography either in your own genre or overall, is just a good thing to have. And so I got lucky, man, but it was hard going through that whole rehearsal process. But it's when we finally got there in Indianapolis, I think that's when the Super Bowl was in Indianapolis. When we finally got there, man, and I had to put on, and we had to suit up, and you know, it's billions of people watching the Super Bowl. Like, there's nothing bigger than a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? As far as television and people. First of all, it was sold out. When you look at the crowd, all you see is crazy lights everywhere. You don't even see the people. You just see these lights flashing, and you just hear, oh! And the energy is so nuts that the stage is actually shaking. The people are shaking the stage because they're going so crazy. The people are actually shaking the floor. You see the stage doing this, and you're like, what the? So especially, that was my first experience at a huge performance like that. So my heart is out of my chest, bro. But as soon as that music played and they heard that, what are you looking at? And that smoke came in and that bowl came in, it was over, bro. It was just focused. But that was that moment.
Did you kill it?
That was that moment where I had to play like Hermes, right? I had the harp and everything. I was like the messenger of the gods. So I was just chilling, and I had to be frozen till Madonna came all the way to the stage. And during this whole time, I'm just like, damn, bro. I used to be bumping on I used to be practicing till my toes bled. I used to be in the trap, like wearing bobos, you know. Like I used to dream about dancing next to Madonna and all these different artists like this, because I thought the background dancers who danced with them made millions of dollars when I was in the hood. See, that's the mindset. See, there's not a lot of opportunity in Memphis as far as like the arts, right? Or as far as like dancing or anything like that. In LA or in New York, you have like all this opportunity where you can get signed to an agency. You can become a professional dancer or a commercial dancer or anything like that. You can do commercials where you get residual income from doing those commercials and dancing in those commercials, and you getting checks that come in the mail every month and stuff like that. There's nothing like that in Memphis, right? But there's this amazing dance style that just is the most amazing thing you've ever seen. It's dominant or rough in Memphis, but it's just because there is no opportunity out there. It's just like coming from all that, man. I was reflecting on all that, bro, and that just gave me the energy and the confidence to really take it down, bro. It was like a flashback that happened, bro. And then because we were just sitting on stage waiting till the music dropped in the darkness, and all this stuff is going through my head. And then as soon as that music came on, what are you looking at? Boom! I went into the zone, bro, and it was over. It was the most beautiful experience of my life. That performance is still on YouTube. If y'all want to check it out, just type in Madonna Super Bowl performance, and you'll see me just going crazy. And that was amazing, man. It was almost a flawless performance. I killed from beginning to end, and I was nervous because I had to do so much stuff with Madonna. Like there were so many places where I could have made errors and just smacked her in the face with the harp and did some crazy shit, man. And thank God for those 4 months of rehearsals, right? But you know, I really respect Madonna because she's a true warrior, man, and she really brings the best out of you. She wants nothing but the best, the people that are, you know, the best at what they do around her, because she strives for that. She strives for greatness. She's far from ordinary. She has that mentality that I grew up having to have, you know, to survive. So, you know, she came out of Detroit, man, and she started as a dancer with the Martha Graham Company before she even got started in her music career. So she has that respect for dancers, especially street dancers, and man, she's just a lovely person to work with. But she will bring the best out of you or make you show the worst. You know, it's like it was a lot of people that couldn't handle being on that tour, all those rehearsals, but this is the opportunity of a lifetime for somebody like me that came from all of this, from all of that shit in my background. This is a perfect opportunity. You know, I wasn't gonna let this slide. You know, this is my one shot. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I saw it. So I was the main person. Like, I believe my energy was really kinetic with everyone, and everybody used to tell me I love performing on tour with you, man, because like I was always in that. Let's go, y'all. Let's go now. We got this. Fuck it. We got this. We ain't tired. Let's go. We got this. Let's go. I was always like that, trying to keep people on Spartan mode because I was just ready, dog. I was just so ready for life. Like, this is the beginning of my life. I saw, like, I had to go through so much stuff growing up, and I said, this is the beginning of my life. I finally reached the beginning of my life that I love, that I can make for myself. So, like, man, I wouldn't have got that if I wouldn't have been on tour with Madonna. I wouldn't have got that so fast, man. I wouldn't have got that drive to go. Like, I've been going hard, but that discipline to put in hours and hours and hours of work, fight through that tiredness, man, having only 2 breaks between working from like 8 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? That's you know what you've been getting at. It's like you're doing it because you want to. When you're obsessed, you'll do it. You know what I mean? 100%. Like, you didn't sleep the whole time you were out in LA when I was with you. Like, that's what it takes to be great. Do you agree?
But I loved it. So and I loved every minute of it. I loved every minute of it. And that's when you know you're passionate about something. You don't see it as work. You don't see it as, oh my God, I gotta wake up. You see it as, fuck, this shit hurts, but this shit is odd.
You're like, I get to. It's when you change that mentality from having to being you get the privilege of doing what you love, right?
100%.
So, I love how Nick's trying to have a conversation and also eat jelly bellies. Speaking of which, Buck, with COVID-19, you know what's crazy, bro? I usually go get to pick my jelly bellies individually. Now I've got the 30-pack. I just got black licorice. I almost passed out live. Did you get a black licorice or
no? No, I go for it.
Oh my God, black licorice?
I know you go for one. I love you, brother. Buck, speaking of which, you know what, bro? We were thinking at this time too. We bought the 8-year anniversary shirt. So what we wanted to do, Nick, we were thinking is we got people kind of dropping in, asking questions, comments, maybe a giveaway right now. So what I'm thinking is this: number 8 on the shirt, at the Ordnry clothing account, for the 8th person. What do you think? 8th person that sends a smiley face emoji. If you accidentally send a wink, you're disqualified. Smiley face only. Okay.
This is the easiest giveaway. Y'all better do it right now. This is the easiest giveaway. The 8th person.
It's strategic. You might be the first, you might be the 8th. It's like calling a radio station. Be strategic. Only the 8th person shall be the victor.
Can I be included? No, I'm joking.
Message us your size too.
Okay, I got you. Thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, like I said, I love that we had this talk, man. I love that we got to connect with people and talk about a lot of these different things. I know a lot of people right now who are self-employed, especially like me and my lady, we're self-employed, independent contractors, because, you know, we invested into our own art. So, and invested in ourselves. So, you know, a lot of our jobs we do are like different tours that we get booked on or we book ourselves on. And, you know, all these jobs that involve social connection, you know what I'm saying? Being around a mass amount of people. So a lot of that stuff isn't happening anymore. And, you know, a lot of us, you know, everybody's being forced to, you know, sit at home, but like, that's why it's so important, man. I wanted to talk about this before we got off too, of sustainability and being smart as a self-employed worker, especially if you're an artist, because it's and come from a background like me who, you know, you didn't have nothing growing up, so now you want to buy everything once you get the money. I know how it gets like that, but like, we have to see ourselves as athletes and but also like businessmen and businesswomen, because we're independent contractors. We have to take care of ourselves, you know what I mean? So like, this is a good time for everyone to really reflect on what they want to do, what their next phase is in your life. What plateau do you want to accomplish? How are you going to do that? What steps do you think you need to take to do that? And just really going for things, man. Just really trying to make it happen, or, you know, mapping out that plan, you know, to reach a goal. This is a perfect time for that. Working on yourself, you know, as an artist, working on your strengths and your weaknesses. And, because, you know, who knows how long this thing, you know, will last. So I'm just using this time wisely to really work on myself. And I just want to say, if it wasn't for me putting in all that work and being strategic about, you know, my financials, what I'm getting, I saw a good Instagram post by Kevin Hart, and he was explaining how, you know, he takes, you know, if he gets paid a check, right? If he gets a big paycheck or something like that, he's taking a percentage of that check, you know, and what he's basically taking a percentage. I don't know if he said it's a 20% thing where he takes 20% and everything else is getting saved, right? To like whatever he has to do, his taxes, his, you know, all this other stuff, right? Like those type of things that you can do really help when it comes to, like, you know, managing yourself, managing your money and things like that. And I want to, you know, I just want to get into that because we're, like I said, we have to take care of ourselves. And in these times right now, there's a lot of people who can't take care of themselves, and, you know, they don't know what to do. So like, have that mindset, man, as self-employed artists and as, you know, as artists in general, that we have to think about these things. We got to think about being just as smart and strategic as businessmen and women as we are at our art form.
No,
so that's what I've been doing for this whole COVID situation.
And you know, we're all kind of in the same boat right now. Everybody's at home. Everybody's trying to, you know, figure out how we're gonna get back out into the world, and especially like in the performance industry as well. Like, we don't know where that's necessarily going, etc. But I appreciate the fact that we're all dealing with things day by day. And I mean, you're continuing to inspire people through what you do, through movement, through the arts, through culture and fashion. And it's such a diverse skill set, really. And I think, like, you know, when we think about Far From Ordinary, etc., we just, you know, couldn't really think of a better ambassador from the beginning, you know, in terms of what you possess as an individual and how you put that out into the world. So, you know, we really appreciate that, man, for sure.
100%, man. I want to ask you something.
15 inches. Boom.
That was my second question, but no, okay. My first question, I just wanted to really know, man, like, I wanted y'all to really let people know, like, you know, why is it important for y'all to, you know, to be a part of this? I mean, to have a lifestyle, you know, what does Far From Ordinary and that lifestyle mean to y'all?
Very good question. It's about being different. It's really about being what you want to be and just pursuing it. It's not about following what people say you have to do. Oh, go to school so you can do this and do that. I mean, if that's the life that you choose, then it's different. But it's not about, you know, following any sort of cookie cutter. It's about being different and just really going after, once you decide on something, is just following that dream and, you know, experiences along the way, but really kind of creating your own path. But it's something that everybody, you know, Ordnry, like, it's kind of where we came from the name too, is ordinary means everybody is the same, right? Mm-hmm. But far from ordinary. So everybody is the same, but everybody is different. So that's kind of where we're at, you know, and we really want to embrace that.
Honing in on those differences and what makes you, you know, like independently you know what I'm saying? What makes you you? We're all the same people. We all put on our pants the same way. We all bleed, but like, what makes you you, and honing in on that.
Exactly.
And you know what? Like, even for me, Buck, like, I look at my own like journey in terms of personal development. And there's this OG personal development coach, and his name's Jim Rohn, 1970s, 1980s. And this guy, I think I sent it to Nick, but he said this interesting thing, and it really solidified this FFO mentality. And he said, you know, you can work at McDonald's and make $5 an hour and take out the trash, or you can work at McDonald's and make $6 an hour and whistle while you take out the trash. And that's really what being far from ordinary is. It's whatever you're doing in your life. I think it doesn't matter what that actual job title or what it is that you're doing, but if you're giving your full self to that, if you're constantly bringing the best version of you, and that means doing a lot of things behind the scenes as well. It means coming into the workplace with a great mentality. It means bringing the best out of the people around you, especially someone like you being an inspirational individual. I think there's so much of that goes behind the scenes. So to me, being far from ordinary is not just an individualized trait. It's really about empowering the collective. You empower that collective, and then you bring out the best in a society, and that's when you hit that, to me, is the true mantra, right? Empowerment of the collective. This is about a culture for us. And you know, and we, everybody's welcome, man. You know, there's no pre-criteria. As long as you're willing to do ordinary things at an extraordinary degree and really give your best to the world, man, that's what it's all about.
I love that, man. Doing ordinary things at an extraordinary degree. I love that. Because dance, you know, you can dance has that almost attachment to it. You know, when people think dance, they just think, yeah, dance. But, you know, it's what you do with that dance. You know what I'm saying? That makes it far from ordinary. That just makes it more than just, it's already different, but as it is. But like, that's like, for me, I call myself a movement artist, but I'm still a dancer, you know, at heart. But the reason why I wanted to, you know, strive for, you know, greatness, and why really wanted to be one of the best dancers was because I felt that when you like I said, when you really find something that you love, and I'm losing it. I'm sorry. I had it.
No, bring it back.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm going through a little hip thing right now. Like, I got a little hip injury from like laying on it from, you know, it's crazy. I'm hurting myself.
By the way, Mandy, thank you so much. You blessed Nick with this beautiful bottle. He gave it to my girlfriend. I stole it from her, and we've enjoyed it this evening.
That's mine.
And we just want to shout out
No
Remy
correction, it was.
as well.
Shout out Remy.
Shout out Remy.
But yeah, I was just getting at the reason why I started going so hard at dance was because, you know, I saw the potential. I saw how far I can take it, and also like what you were saying, like a lot of people tend to put street dance in a box, right? Like a lot of people tend to like define have their own definition of what fine art is, right? Like ballet is fine art and modern dance is fine art. Not to take away from those different dance styles, but a lot of people wouldn't consider street dance a fine art. You know what I mean? So like, through my own experience in life and me breaking down these different boundaries, performing with Yo-Yo Ma's, a street dancer, to classical music, breaking down these boundaries, doing collaborations with New York City Ballet. That's why I got into ballet in the beginning. You know, like just you, and then now all these people, I haven't changed anything, right? I'm still I'm still a street dancer, but the only thing that's changed is the music, right? So like, which helps change people's perception of, you know. So it's a crazy thing, but I really dig what you were saying, like doing ordinary things that like a far from ordinary, in a far from ordinary way,
like
man.
an extraordinary degree, yeah.
Ordinary things
Yep.
in an extraordinary degree.
Yeah. You know who said that though? I can't take credit. I put on a master class a few weeks ago, and it was a quote from Theodore Roosevelt, old school president. Dude rode a horse and believed in conservation and wore amazing glasses. He was a Democrat. I still love him. Just kidding.
Yeah. I want to say shout out to my boys in the building. My boys, Jack Films in here. Shout out. What up, Yori? What up, Cav?
Yo, so Buck, we were thinking a great way to end it would be, obviously, we first of all want to just thank you again, man. Like, you know, just thank you for tuning in so much and just really opening up, because I think there is so much valuable content that you provided, not only about like all the amazing things that you've done, but your journey, man. It's extremely inspiring. And, you know, we talked about just obviously the Kobe Bryant capsule, and we had spoken to you about that behind the scenes and how inspiring Kobe was. So we were thinking what we could do is do a giveaway where we could also give away a lucky winner is going to get a Kobe Bryant commemorative hoodie. So we gotta come up with a little tricky question here, though. So let's brainstorm live. I mean, what do you think? What should the question be, and how should the person potentially have the chance to win?
Okay, I got it.
Sorry?
I got it.
Okay, cool. That was quick.
We're gonna do a little trivia.
Ooh.
Okay.
If the person gets this question right, the first person to email this question gets the hoodie.
Why don't we do direct message to the Instagram?
Or direct message. We can do DM. We can do DM.
Yeah, okay, DM.
So this is the back of the hoodie. Hold on.
I love that hoodie. I want that hoodie. You know, Kobe was a big inspiration.
You see?
Yeah, City of Angels. That was tough, man. That was tough for everybody, but he was such an inspirational force, man. Just truly, I mean, truly an inspiration to so many people, and it was just devastating. Nick and I.
How do we win the hoodie?
Okay, how do we win the hoodie as well? So the hoodie. How do we win the hoodie, Nick? So what's the question, Buck? Tell us about the question. What's the question gonna be, my friend?
Okay, trivia. Pop trivia.
Pop quiz.
What was the first YouTube video I've done? What was that video called? My very first YouTube video. If you can answer that, first person to DM with that answer gets the hoodie. How about that?
Who are they DMing? Just so we're very clear.
DM Ordnry Clothing. So DM at ORDNRY. Put it in the comments and pin it.
Okay.
I'll put it in the comments. Y'all can pin it. But
Okay, pin it.
This is the question right now.
Okay. Lil Buck's first YouTube video.
Yo, shout out Slick. What up, Slick?
Yeah, Slick, man. Shout out Slick.
Slick, don't even respond to that because you're not winning the hoodie.
So, Buck, you know what? I think at this point, I just, again, we can't thank you enough for everything, man. We appreciate you coming on the pilot episode of FFO Frequency, man. We just love talking to you. We love your message. We love what you stand for. We wish you the best. And we can't wait to share more success with you in the future, brother.
And we got a ton of stuff that we got to work on. So I'm going to call you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we
There
got to
you
get
go. All right, for sure, man. Bless. I just put it in the comments. But yeah, man, thank y'all so much for going live with me. It's been great. I'm glad we got to hear from y'all as well, and y'all whole thought process on, you know, how y'all take on being far from ordinary, because I'm sure a lot of people, you know, love to hear that, especially from you guys that's making that made that made the brand. You know what I'm saying? So till next time, right?
Oh yeah.
Till next time, brother.
Yeah.
We got to do this again, and I thank everybody for tuning in too, y'all. Much love.
Yeah, appreciate everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody.
Peace.